Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The story begins with a quiet but undeniable shift, the kind that lingers in the air long after the words have been spoken, as if fate itself has gently but firmly drawn a line between two hearts that once seemed destined to find their way back to each other. In the world of the young and the restless, the possibility of a reunion between Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman now feels like a door that has slowly, almost painfully, closed, at least for now. Their connection, once filled with promise and emotional vulnerability, becomes strained under the weight of family loyalty and deep-rooted conflict. The turning point arrives in a moment charged with raw emotion, when Kyle unleashes his frustration in a heated rant about Victor Newman, accusing him of kidnapping Jack Abbott and tearing apart everything he holds dear. It's not just anger, it's pain, betrayal, and helplessness wrapped into one explosive outburst. And yet, standing across from him, Claire cannot fully stand by his side, because her heart is divided between love and loyalty. As the tension thickens, Claire finds herself in an impossible position, caught between defending her grandfather and acknowledging the wrong that has been done. She doesn't excuse Jack's abduction, but neither can she ignore the complicated truth that Jack himself played a role in the chaos, betraying Diane Jenkins Abbott and damaging his own marriage. Her words are calm but firm, layered with emotional conflict, and they land heavily on Kyle, who had hoped, perhaps desperately, for unwavering support. In that moment, the reality becomes painfully clear to both of them. Victor Newman is not just a temporary obstacle, but a permanent force that will always stand between them. It's a realization that doesn't come with shouting or dramatic exits, but rather with a quiet, aching understanding that some divides cannot be bridged, no matter how strong the feelings once were. And so, without needing to say it outright, Kyle and Claire come to terms with the end of their romantic chapter, at least for now. There's a sense of finality in the air, but also a lingering what if that refuses to completely fade. Because in the unpredictable rhythm of Genoa City, love stories rarely end forever. They simply pause, waiting for the right moment to begin again. Still, life moves forward, and both of them must now face a future that doesn't include each other, learning to redirect their hearts even as memories linger in the background. The separation isn't explosive, it's quiet, bittersweet, and deeply human, leaving behind a sense of unfinished business that may one day resurface. As Claire steps into this new chapter, the path ahead seems to gently guide her back toward Holden Novak, a presence that feels both familiar and full of possibility. There's a subtle but unmistakable shift in the narrative, as if the story itself is nudging them closer together, setting the stage for something more concrete to grow between them. Their interactions begin to carry a different energy, softer, more intentional, hinting at a relationship that could soon take shape in a meaningful way. For Claire, it may be a chance to explore a connection unburdened by the heavy shadows of family conflict, a fresh start that offers both comfort and hope. Meanwhile, Kyle is left standing at a crossroads of his own, his romantic future uncertain but far from empty. There's a sense that he deserves a new beginning, a chance to rebuild not just his love life but also his sense of stability after everything he's endured. Around him, possibilities begin to swirl, some more complicated than others. Audra Charles, for instance, remains a wild card, especially as Holden Novak continues to push her toward reigniting something with Kyle. Yet, Audra's attention seems drawn elsewhere, pulled toward the familiar pull of Noah Newman, leaving her connection with Kyle lingering in that complicated space between tension and unresolved passion. Their history is anything but simple, filled with sharp exchanges and emotional sparks that suggest something deeper still simmers beneath the surface. Elsewhere, fans begin to imagine unexpected possibilities, including the idea of Kyle forming a connection with Victoria Newman. It's a pairing that would certainly bring drama and intrigue, but it also feels like a stretch, given Victoria's unwavering loyalty to Victor, a loyalty even stronger than Claire's. Such a relationship would be built on shaky ground from the very beginning, making it more of a fleeting fantasy than a likely reality. But in a world like this, even the most unlikely ideas can spark curiosity, adding to the ever-evolving tapestry of relationships that define Genoa City. And then, just beneath the surface of it all, there is the lingering presence of someone who feels both distant and inevitable. Summer Newman. Her name continues to echo through conversations, a reminder of a connection that has never truly been erased. Kyle's history with Summer runs deep, layered with shared experiences, emotional highs and lows, and a bond that time has never fully broken. There's a growing sense that her return is not a matter of if, but when, as though the story itself is quietly preparing for her re-entry into the lives she once left behind. Even if her comeback has been delayed, the possibility remains strong, carrying with it the promise of rekindled emotions and unresolved feelings. When that moment comes, it may be Harrison Abbott who once again becomes the bridge between them, giving Kyle and Summer a reason to revisit what they once shared. Their story has always been tied together by more than just romance. It's family, history, and a bond that refuses to fade. And in a place where past loves often find their way back to each other, their reunion feels like a thread waiting to be picked up again. For now, however, Kyle's focus shifts away from romance and towards something far more immediate and personal. His priority becomes standing by Jack, helping him seek justice against Victor, while also working to mend the fractures in Jack's marriage to Diane. It's a mission fueled by loyalty, determination, and a desire to restore what has been broken. Love may take a backseat for the moment, but it hasn't disappeared. It's simply waiting for the right time to return. As the story continues to unfold, one thing becomes clear. Kyle Abbott's journey is far from over. The road ahead is filled with unexpected turns, emotional challenges, and the ever-present possibility of new beginnings. In Genoa City, nothing stays still for long, and the future holds more twists than anyone can predict. Whether it leads him back to a familiar love or towards something entirely new, one truth remains certain. His story is only just beginning, and the next chapter may change everything. Time passes in Genoa City like a slow-burning storm, never truly still, always gathering energy beneath the surface. And as the dust begins to settle from Kyle's emotional fallout with Claire, a new kind of tension quietly takes shape around him. The anger that once fueled his confrontation with Victor Newman doesn't simply disappear. It simmers, reshaping itself into determination, into a need to protect his family and restore what's been broken. Standing beside Jack Abbott, Kyle begins to channel that pain into action, focusing on helping his father recover not just from the trauma of what happened, but from the emotional wreckage that followed. The strain on Jack's marriage to Diane Jenkins Abbott casts a long shadow, one that Kyle cannot ignore, knowing that the cracks in their relationship run deeper than anyone wants to admit. Every conversation feels heavier now, layered with unspoken regrets and fragile attempts at healing, as if one wrong word could shatter whatever fragile peace remains. And through it all, Kyle finds himself stepping into a role that demands strength, even as his own heart quietly struggles to keep up. Yet, even in the midst of loyalty and responsibility, there are moments when silence creeps in. Moments when Kyle is left alone with his thoughts, and the absence of Claire Newman becomes impossible to ignore. Their separation wasn't explosive, but that almost makes it harder to move on, because nothing was truly resolved, only set aside. He replays their final conversations in his mind, searching for something he could have said differently, something that might have changed the outcome. But every path leads back to the same painful truth. As long as Victor stands where he does, their love will always be caught in the crossfire. It's a realization that lingers, quiet but persistent, shaping the way Kyle begins to look at the future, not with certainty but with cautious distance. And so, he pushes forward, burying those emotions beneath the weight of everything else he needs to handle, convincing himself that time will eventually dull the ache. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Genoa City, Claire's world begins to shift in its own subtle, undeniable way, as her connection with Holden Novak continues to grow beneath the surface. What starts as quiet understanding gradually deepens into something more meaningful, something that feels steady in a way her relationship with Kyle never could. Holden offers a kind of presence that isn't overshadowed by family conflict, a sense of calm that allows Claire to breathe without constantly feeling pulled in opposing directions. Their conversations carry an ease that slowly replaces the tension she once knew. And in those moments, she begins to realize that moving forward doesn't mean forgetting. It means allowing herself to experience something new without the weight of the past holding her back. Still, there are flickers of hesitation, brief pauses where memories of Kyle resurface, reminding her that some emotions don't simply vanish, they evolve, waiting quietly in the background. At the same time, the unpredictable nature of Genoa City continues to stir possibilities that refuse to stay buried. And among them is the lingering connection between Kyle and Audra Charles. Their history remains charged, filled with sharp edges and undeniable chemistry that neither of them has fully escaped. Every encounter carries that familiar spark, a mixture of frustration and attraction that creates a tension impossible to ignore. Though Audra's attention drifts toward Noah Newman, there is an unpredictability to her choices that leaves the door slightly open, just enough for old dynamics to resurface when least expected. It's the kind of connection that thrives on chaos, where emotions run high and nothing is ever simple, making it both dangerous and strangely compelling. Still, beneath all these shifting possibilities, there's a quiet inevitability that continues to build, almost like a distant echo growing louder with time. The eventual return of Summer Newman. Her presence lingers even in absence, woven into conversations, memories, and the shared history that refuses to fade. For Kyle, she represents something both familiar and unresolved, a chapter that never truly reached its final page. And when she does return, it won't just be a simple reunion. It will be a collision of past and present, of emotions that have been waiting patiently for their moment to resurface. With Harrison Abbott as a constant link between them, their paths are bound to cross again, pulling them back into each other's orbit, whether they're ready or not. As all these threads begin to intertwine, the future feels anything but predictable, shaped by choices that carry both hope and consequence. Kyle stands at the center of it all, navigating a world where love, loyalty, and family are constantly at odds, each demanding something different from him. The road ahead is filled with uncertainty, but also with possibility, the kind that defines life in Genoa City, where every ending is simply the beginning of something new. And as the story continues to unfold, one truth remains impossible to ignore. No matter how far Kyle moves forward, the past will always find a way to catch up, bringing with it the chance for redemption, for heartbreak, and perhaps for love that refuses to stay buried. As the days stretch on and emotions settle into a fragile rhythm, Genoa City begins to feel like a place caught between what was lost and what might still be found. And at the center of it all stands Kyle Abbott, carrying the quiet weight of everything he's been forced to leave behind. There's a noticeable shift in him now, a subtle hardening beneath the surface, as if the heartbreak with Claire Newman has reshaped the way he approaches both love and loyalty. He throws himself deeper into supporting Jack Abbott, standing firmly by his side as the effort to repair things with Diane Jenkins Abbott becomes an uphill battle filled with delicate conversations and emotional landmines. Every attempt at reconciliation feels like walking a tightrope, where one misstep could undo all progress, and Kyle becomes both witness and protector in a situation that demands patience and resilience. The mission to hold his family together slowly becomes his anchor, giving him purpose even as his personal life remains uncertain and unresolved. In those quiet, reflective moments, however, it's clear that no amount of responsibility can fully silence the echoes of what he's lost. And yet, even as Kyle tries to move forward, the world around him refuses to remain still, pulling him back into complicated dynamics that blur the line between past and present. His interactions with Audra Charles begin to resurface with an intensity that feels almost inevitable, as though their unresolved history has been waiting for the right moment to reignite. There's a tension in the air whenever they cross paths, a charged silence that speaks louder than words, hinting at emotions neither of them has fully confronted. Audra's connection to Noah Newman may still linger, but it doesn't erase the undeniable pull she shares with Kyle, a pull rooted in conflict, attraction, and a shared understanding of each other's flaws. It's messy, unpredictable, and dangerously compelling. The kind of dynamic that could either heal old wounds or reopen them in ways neither of them is prepared for. And as those moments begin to stack, it becomes harder to ignore the possibility that their story isn't as finished as it once seemed. Meanwhile, in another corner of Genoa City, Claire Newman continues to navigate her own emotional evolution, stepping cautiously into something new with Holden Novak. Their growing bond feels steadier now, more grounded, offering Claire a sense of balance she hadn't realized she was missing before. With Holden, there are no looming shadows of family feuds dictating every interaction, no constant need to defend or justify where her loyalty lies. Instead, there is a quiet understanding, a gentle unfolding of connection that allows her to rediscover what it means to feel secure in someone's presence. And yet, even as she leans into this new chapter, there are fleeting moments, brief but powerful, when memories of Kyle surface, reminding her that some parts of the heart don't simply disappear, no matter how determined one might be to move on. Hovering over all of these shifting relationships is the ever-present influence of Victor Newman, whose actions continue to ripple through the lives of everyone around him. His shadow looms large, not just as a source of past conflict, but as a force that could once again disrupt any sense of stability just as it begins to form. The tension between him and the Abbott family remains unresolved, simmering beneath the surface with the potential to erupt at any moment. For Kyle, that unresolved conflict is more than just a family feud. It's a reminder of the very thing that drove him and Claire apart. A barrier that still stands, unyielding and ever present. And as long as Victor remains at the center of it all, the possibility of old wounds reopening feels not just likely but inevitable. But perhaps the most powerful shift lies in the sense of something approaching. something not yet seen but deeply felt. The looming return of Summer Newman. Her absence has created a space that feels too significant to remain empty. And as her name continues to echo through conversations and memories, it becomes clear that her reappearance is only a matter of time. For Kyle, her return would bring with it a flood of unresolved emotions, a collision of past love and present uncertainty that could change everything. Their shared history, strengthened by their connection to Harrison Abbott, ensures that their lives will always remain intertwined, no matter how far they've drifted apart. And when that inevitable reunion comes, it won't be simple or easy. It will be layered with everything they've been through, every mistake, every moment of love that never fully faded. As the story continues to unfold, the atmosphere becomes charged with anticipation, every character moving along paths that seem destined to intersect in unexpected ways. Kyle's journey is no longer just about moving on, it's about confronting everything he's tried to leave behind, facing the emotional truths that continue to shape his future. In a world where love is rarely straightforward and every choice carries consequences, the next chapter promises to be as unpredictable as it is emotionally powerful. And somewhere within all that uncertainty lies the possibility of something more. A second chance, a new beginning, or perhaps a love story that refuses to end, no matter how many times it's been tested by time, conflict, and fate.